First, with all of us proposed, with respect to all the Rabbim there, and to everybody there, I stand here very humble, as I'm sure we all do, and very grateful. Certainly grateful to Hashem for bringing us all to this day. To my family, to my friends, and of course to all the rabbis that have influenced my life and will, as Hashem influence my life. But I don't stand here as a man. I stand here, anas al yevei anak, like a midget standing on the shoulders of giants. It's not that I've gained so much knowledge in this class that I can now stand here and say, look at me. It's that I can stand on the shoulders of people like Rabbi Citron, of everybody that came before. And it's no coincidence that this week's parsha coming up is Shemot. We read about the birth of our first teacher, Moshe Rabbeinu. I think we all join that line of teachers now. Yeshivah L'Smicha. We become part of that chain that links us all together all the way right back to the time of Moshe and even beyond. And certainly we have a lot of giants in this room. I want to thank my fellow students that have not yet graduated and my fellow graduates, because together we really have learned a lot, and a lot from each other. And I think that one of the marks that I've learned in this is not so much, it's not so much how much do I know, it's how much I don't know. And the fact that there's not any person, not anybody that I cannot learn from, particularly when it comes to Torah. There's always somebody, always something. And I've seen that with the influences I've had by the rabbis in my life. From the time I was a little boy, my first rabbi, Rabbi Eugene Leibowitz, inspired me. I remember spending Shabbats at his house as a boy. He had what is now Yeshiva Elementary School used to be his shul. It was a conservative shul. They took a bus down there on Shabbat. We obviously were religious. And we went over there, spent the day with him. His best friend from his yeshiva was Shlomo Karlbach, who spent Shabbat with him. So I sat at a table smaller than this with Shlomo Karlbach, hearing these wonderful stories. And I was inspired, and I had a dream. I had a dream that one day I was going to become a rabbi. And then I got older, and the dream faded, and I said, it'll never happen. And then I got re-inspired by other rabbis. I got re-inspired by the rabbi that this shul is named after, Rabbi David Brin. And it's ironic that the last 2 years of the Smicha program were in the California Club Shul, which is the shul that he started, and our graduation is in the shul that's named for him. He was, in my opinion, a very big tzaddik, Alav Shalom, and he's still has influenced my life to the point that 2 nights ago, he literally came to me in a dream to say congratulations. And give me a hug. I want to thank also the other rabbis, Rabbi Uziel, who's not here yet. Certainly Rabbi Salad, a rabbi I learned with in Hollywood, who's helped me to study as we were going through the Smicha program. Some of the very tough topics that we had with the laws of Nidah, which there's lots of weaving in and out and like that. Rabbi Salad helped to make it clear. Certainly Rabbi Sharbani, who both Daniel and I learned with for a while, with the Lords of Basar B'Chalov. And some of the other rabbis, Rabbi Barash is here. I used to learn with Rabbi Barash's brother in the Shul of Al Harbor, and now Rabbi Barash and I have learned together from time to time. And Rabbi Gansberg, who I knew Rabbi Gansberg when before he had Smicha, we met in Italy, and then met here. So very, very interesting, all the connections that we've had. I also want to certainly mention Rabbi Lipsker, who started the Smicha program at the Shul of Al Harbor. But before that, before the Smicha program was there, Rabbi Lipsker started the Kollel, which is what brought Rabbi Citron to this area. And it's what started my connection with Rabbi Citron, as well as many other rabbis, like Rabbi Dolphin that's here. So I wanted to just say that all of you, and if I've left somebody out, I apologize, but all of you have always had an influence. I've always looked up and still continue to look up to you. And somebody says, you've gained so much knowledge in this course, I can't, we have gained a lot of knowledge, but what I know more now is what I don't know. I don't know how deep the ocean is, but I know now there's no bottom. Like before, I thought, well, you learn and finally you get to a point. Now I know there is no point. No point of finishing. There's only a point of going deeper and deeper. And certainly, lastly, with the rabbis I'm thanking you, I have to thank lastly is Rabbi Citron. But before Rabbi Citron, I want to thank Rabbi Foster. As Daniel said, he is amazing in how he would come in and give the tests. I remember the first test sitting next to Daniel Kahani, and just like tonight we went in order of Cohen and Levy, and we were being tested on the laws of Shabbat, and he says to Rabbi Kahani, he says, I used to hear him hard. He asked a question, and the sweat was dripping down my face. I said, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this. And Daniel just aced it. He got it. And then he turned to me and he said, okay, Abraham, and I can't remember the question he asked me for some reason. He asked me a question I knew everything about. And he continued that way. He was very, very amazing and very insightful. Then, of course, Rabbi Citron, obviously none of us would be up here without Rabbi Citron. Rabbi Citron, besides his obvious, he's a Talmud Chacham. And he never ceases to amaze me in not just how much he knows, but how he knows how to explain it and give it over. Because I think that the idea of a rabbi is not just having the knowledge, it's being able to impart it. It's being able to give it over. Rabbi Citron always has a way to make you understand and to help you understand. He's never got tired of questions. He never got tired of going back to a topic that we covered. He never got tired of anything. He just explained it and kept going. And even tolerated our jokes. We were always asking him, when do we get to learn this? You know, when do we get to learn to do the funny? And the big thing, and I'm going to ask my fellow graduates up here to help me with this. He taught us how to sing. Remember the song? But it helped us to learn. He would sing the song and that knowledge stuck. Amazing. So the point of this is that one word sometimes, one little influence can pay dividends way down the line. My seeds were planted over 40 years ago to want to be a rabbi. And 40 years later, the seeds at least have taken some root. You know? So one word can influence all of us. We know this. You know? Just saying hello, shalom to somebody when they're down can totally lift them and change them. My word, really, for the L'Smicha program, for me, that influenced me to do this, was jealousy. With all respect to Rabbi Weberman, jealousy was the word that got me here. It was my 50th birthday, a number of years ago. Not that many, but a few years ago. And my wife gave me a very nice surprise party. And our friends, the Colemans were there, was part of it. And my friend Hanan Coleman sits down and reading, and he says to me, guess what? I'm in a L'Smicha program with Rabbi Citron. And I'm going to get L'Smicha in 4 years. And my first reaction is like, you're not getting that without me. And Baruch Hashem, I joined. I started. And here I am. So in addition to certainly thanking my friend Hanan, who is not here, he made Aliyah and lives in Eretz Yisrael now. But I know he's here, he's my spiritual brother, and he's here with us that way too. There's a few other people to thank. Obviously my family, my mom who's here, and Fanny, her cousins Danny, Ruth, sister-in-law, our great friend Miriam, and certainly my children, Shoshana, Yehuda, and Shabbatai. And I want to thank somebody else that's here, sitting in the back over in the women's section, Susan Goldberg, I'm sorry. It's from the Goldshar family, who helped sponsor this whole Speak Learning. And we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to the people that helped make this possible. So I want to acknowledge that. I want to also give a little, I can't come up here and just thank people. I have to give some knowledge, right? So I want to tell you something that I find very interesting, Parsha Vayera. Parsha Vayera, we know Abraham Levy was sitting outside his tent. He's waiting for visitors to come. He's just circumcised himself. It's 3 days later, right? And who shows up is the Malachim, right? They're dressed as traders, right? And they show up. And he greets them and so on, and the Torah tells us that he goes into the tent and he says to Sarah in the tent, quick, let's get some food together, we have guests. And they eat, and what's the next question that the Malachim ask? They say, Ay Sarah Ishtah. Where's Sarah, your wife? The Torah doesn't waste words. So Rashi on this says, they're trying to point out, she was in the tent. She had sniot, she was being humble, she was being demure, they were trying to compliment Abraham. But I read something interesting. It's a little bit different about this. Why ask where she is? Why do they need to know? And they could have just said, where's Sarah? So where's Sarah, your wife? So it was important. They were about to give Abraham Avinu the news that Yitzchak was going to be born. And that the line of Judaism was going to go through Yitzchak. He was going to get his, he was going to see it continue. Very important news, I think, right? Very important. So what were they asking? They were asking not physically, where's Sarah? Where's Sarah? They were asking, where is she spiritually? Where does she hold? Where does she stand? Why? The next question is, why do you need to know this? Because the answer is, if you want to know where a man is, you have to first know where his wife is. You first have to know. You think Abraham Avinu could have guests all the time with 4 doors on and his tent open to all sides and just people popping in without a wife that supported him? Any of you guys over here, I dare you, with that your wife's permission, to go and take a bunch of people home and see what happens. You have to have a wife willing to do that. And so the other person I have to thank is my wife. Because to be able to go for 4 years, 2 nights a week, no matter what, rain or shine, kids in bed, out of bed, is a big thing. But what's bigger for my wife is that a month before we started the course, she had a diagnosis of a disease that entailed her receiving chemotherapy. And she would say to me when she didn't feel good, go. And she would say to me, when she really wanted me to be home and take care of things, go. Do this, because it's important. So, like Rabbi Akiva said, I stand here because of her. Because of her enabling me to do this, and her pushing me to do it. So, that being said, this isn't the end. As Rabbi Webberman said, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of what we have to do now. We've just reached a point where we could really go to the next level. You know, our job as Jews is to keep learning and to review. That's our job as Jews. That's not our job as a rabbi or anything else like that. If you're born a Jew, your job is you have to learn. You have to know. You have to serve Hashem. We have to know the gift that He gave us in the Torah. But as Rabbi Vogelman and Rabbi Citron said, our job now is we have to give the knowledge over. We have to say it. We have to tell people. We have to be patient. And if there's one thing I learned in this, it's not just learning the halachas and learning what to do, it's also learning how to learn and learning how to teach. Learning to be patient with somebody that doesn't understand it the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, or fifth time, but maybe understands it the 10th time or the 20th time. You have to be patient. And I owe that to Rabbi Citron, who has that kind of patience with all of us. So now the next question is, if we're going to teach, what are we going to teach? And I'm going to submit that what we teach is not so much important as that we do. As the Lubavitch Rebbe, and I have to ultimately also thank the Lubavitch Rebbe, because without him I would also not be standing here. We would not have had the L'Smicha course. We would have not had this room full of people. We would not have had any of that. And the Lubavitch Rebbe had great advice. It's often quoted, but I think it's very apropos here. He said, the main thing we have to do now is to do something. We can't just sit and do nothing. So I want to thank everybody once again. Thank you, Rabbi Citron. From the bottom of my heart, hopefully we'll all be able to learn together and do it with Mashiach. B'ezrat Hashem, Amen.